We start with overnight news now. Montano, just west of I-25, is back open after a person was hit and killed by a semi-truck last night. The crash happened just before 10 at Montano and Culture. Police are not saying much about it, except the person who was hit died before getting to the hospital. Look for updates later today on this story right here on KRQE. Well, if you are looking for a job, polish off that resume and head to Sitel's call center in Albuquerque today. Sitel's is hiring 200 full-time and 150 temporary workers for its call center off Jefferson and I-25. The job fair goes from 9 to 4 today, and if you can't make it, no worries. You can also go to one next Wednesday. And speaking of jobs, we now know how many people turned out for another big job fair. The Albuquerque Downs tells us in the last 2 days, 6,400 people showed up and applied for just 400 jobs, both full and part-time, everything from security guards to cooks and servers. The new Racino is expected to open in June. More than $500,000 that people and companies owed the city of Albuquerque for everything from parking fees to off-duty police work is now off the books thanks to the city council. The city says it tried but simply can't collect all this money. City councilors decided to write off the debt this week, saying they had to go comply with the state law to wipe off bad debt from the books every couple of years. But some city councilors now want answers for how these delinquent accounts got there in the first place.
Not all of it is accountable to bad business practice, but I think a lot of it is, and we need to start looking at those things to make sure that we're not practicing something that recurs again and again.
City says it'll still go after the debt from some of the businesses, plus it's getting new software that it says should help it keep tabs on who owes what. Well, the U.S. Department of Energy wants to give $19 million to Los Alamos Lab to clean up radioactive waste. The department is asking Congress to reprogram its budget to give more money to the cleanup process. Money is down right now because of the big federal budget cuts. Governor Susana Martinez is pushing the government to speed up and the cleanup process and give it more money. Well, another rocket company has signed up for New Mexico's Spaceport America. Space Exploration Technologies, or what you probably hear as SpaceX, will test its reusable rocket called the Grasshopper. It's a booster rocket designed to land vertically instead of burning up and crashing after it's used. SpaceX completed low-altitude tests in Texas and now needs to fly higher, and it recently became the first private company to deliver supplies to the space station. SpaceX joins the space tourism company Virgin Galactic, and several smaller rocket companies now signed up or already launching from here in New Mexico at Spaceport America. Well, former Governor Bill Richardson is now on the defense about a comment he made about a Republican senator from Texas. Mr. Richardson was doing an interview with ABC News this weekend when he was asked about Senator Ted Cruz.
I'm not a fan. I know he's sort of the Republican latest flavor.
Do you think he represents most Hispanics?
No.
With his politics?
No, he's anti-immigration. Almost every Hispanic in the country wants to see immigration reform. No, I don't think he should be defined as a Hispanic. He's a politician from Texas.
Well, that comment right there outraged a lot of people, including the Republican Party. Richardson responded to the criticism on his Facebook page, saying, and I quote, "When I mentioned on an ABC interview that Senator Cruz should not be defined as a Hispanic, I meant that Cruz, like myself, are more than just Hispanic politicians. We are proud Americans and interested in a variety of mainstream issues and not just immigration." A Marine from New Mexico who lost both of his legs in Afghanistan in an IED blast in 2010 is now challenging himself. Lance Corporal Ivan Sears has spent the last 2 years learning to walk, then run. And guess what? He's now getting ready to compete in his first ever Wounded Warrior Games. He's training for the hand cycling and wheelchair races, but he doesn't plan on stopping with just these.
That's my final goal, is try to go to the Paralympics. So just need a lot more training for that.
All right, the races are this weekend in Colorado Springs at the Air Force Academy. Good luck to him and to all of the athletes there. Well, the families of 27 New Mexico National Guard soldiers who have been overseas will finally be able to fill that empty spot at the dinner table tonight. They're from the Guard's 615th Combat Support Battalion and have spent the last 9 months deployed in Egypt. Welcome home and thank you for your service. All right, you know, kids love to text. Usually they text each other, but now a teacher is in some big trouble, accused of flooding a 12-year-old student's phone with some pretty creepy messages. And state police say that with another student, this teacher went well beyond words. News 13's Alex Goldsmith explains.
State police say 27-year-old Lordsburg teacher and softball coach Andres Saenz and a former student were exchanging hundreds of text messages, many of them inappropriate. On top of that, according to a police report, Saenz sent the 12-year-old a shirtless picture and tried to take her to the desert. The girl's mother tells News 13 she even posed as her daughter and texted Saenz to see just how far he would go.
I don't know what. I still don't even want to think or know. I have no idea what could have happened.
Saenz is also facing a felony criminal sexual contact charge. State police tells News 13 that Saenz got naked with a 17-year-old student and the two touched each other. In the Newsplex, Alex Goldsmith, KRQE, News 13.
Andreas Saenz has resigned from Lordsburg schools and is looking at prison time if he's convicted in either or both cases. A 46-year-old man behind bars this morning accused of stalking a 15-year-old girl and threatening to even kidnap her from school. Investigators say Rudolph Serrano here started calling and texting the girl on her mother's cell phone last January. Now, they say that some of the messages talk about love, others rape and kidnapping. Mother says the family knows Serrano and he's simply obsessed with the teen. He needs $100,000 cash if he wants to get out of jail today. Well, the Alamogordo axe murderer is back in prison this morning. Albert Lueras spent 19 years in prison for killing his mother and 6-year-old nephew with an axe back in 1989. Since he got out in 2008, he has been arrested 3 times for returning to the family's home where the murders happened. His sister filed a restraining order to keep him away. On Monday, Lueras was sentenced to another year and a half for violating that probation order and aggravated stalking. Well, former Denver Bronco and New York Jet Tim Tebow has a job offer from right here in New Mexico. The OK Hotel Casino near Espanola is offering Tim Tebow a job as CWO, that is Chief Winning Officer, essentially a greeter and a glad-hander. The casino says it's offering Tebow the job because of how friendly he is and because of the legions of devoted fans he has all around the country. Tebow was just cut by the New York Jets, you probably heard, but Forbes magazine says he is still the most influential athlete in all of the country. He has not responded to the OK Casino offer, though I'm guessing he is going to say it is not okay with him.